the spring of 1994, the RPF invades again. Large-scale, carefully planned invasion of Rwanda. This was not a spontaneous civil war. It's an invasion from Uganda by an outside force. The RPF, their intentions, based on their actions and behavior, as well as based on interviews my colleagues and I have conducted with members of the Rwandan government, their intentions were conquest, take over control of the country. Simultaneously with this outbreak of what has come to be known as a civil war, the genocidal killing starts. As the RPF invasion moves from north to south and from east to west, the Hutu, remnants of the Hutu government, to say to the RPF, if you halt your invasion, we'll stop the killing. And Paul Kagame says, according to Romeo Dallaire, who is the Canadian general in charge of the UN delegation there, military delegation, according to Dallaire, Paul Kagame, his representative, said, no, we're not going to stop this invasion. Now, at that point, Romeo Dallaire, according to Dallaire's memoirs, asked Kagame, well, if you're not going to stop the invasion, for God's sakes, do it as quickly as you can, to save as many people as you can. And Paul Kagame says, we'll do it on our timetable. The Kagame-led RPF in 1990 suffered terrible casualties. In 1994, as best we can tell, they suffer almost no casualties. One reason why is because they move very slowly and deliberately. It takes from early April until the middle of July for the RPF to cover 100 miles. Their average advance is less than a mile a day. Against, by the time it's late May, a largely disintegrated military force. The FAR, the Hutu army, has basically fallen apart by the middle of May, end of May. But the RPF stops repeatedly. Our research, we've been able to track the daily movements. We know the positions of the front line day after day after day. And there are multiple periods during this where the RPF simply stops. And they don't stop for 2 or 3 days. They don't stop for 2 or 3 weeks. They stop for 3 or 4 weeks. And while they're stopped, the Interahamwe are continuing the killing. Neighbors continuing to kill neighbors. People are dying. Hutu are dying, Tutsi are dying. Genocide's taking place, hate radio's taking place. And Paul Kagame and the RPF are moving and acting deliberately, slowly, cautiously, not to save Tutsi, but to save their own soldiers' lives. They move with no urgency.